The Godfather and Teflon Dons and other things like that. It was a long time ago, basically, and pretty much what happened was basically a niece or a daughter, pretty much someone that would be an organized crime, basically contacted me as basically her grandfather or someone was basically dying of diabetes. Basically, he had a problem, and she explained the symptoms and stuff like that. And I said, well, it might be a sugar imbalance or something like that, but I don't really know. Have some of my doctors or contact some of my doctors. And I think I might have suggested a place in Germany, like ask around Germany, basically. Like I said, Germany had the most high tech and best medicine and best doctors in the whole entire world. It went Germany, basically, then basically China. Like I said, I spent $17 or $17 million basically building basically a hospital and pretty much a psychiatric care jail or facility basically in China, pretty much. For which Nixon or JFK or someone or some Vietnam vets took down and stole the gold or something out of it. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, though, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but basically I had 5 or 6 high-tech facilities where basically that could basically take a look at people. Anyway, so I believe she contacted one of them, and basically I think they said they couldn't really help other than to suggest a diet or whatever else like that. And I think I told her to maybe have them check his blood and also look for imbalances in blood. And I might have given some suggestions as far as like just compare his blood to other people's blood. Anyway, look for whatever. I mean, and I also suggested, I said everything's in your blood. Um, if you take a look at your blood, and I think I might have suggested using a centrifuge or something like that. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm not really a doctor. I just knew a few things about a few things, and just suggested a few things. Like I say, I'm the creator. I'm really on vacation. This is my vacation. This is my last life or something like that, or basically my life. It was supposed to just be a vacation where I was basically just being a child and being a human. Basically living kind of like a normal life. Anyway, I was contacted basically by the niece of someone in organized crime or something like that, and basically her grandfather was suffering from diabetes or something like that. Anyway, anyway, it was something like that. But basically, I suggested some hospitals or basically some places to ask around pretty much, because like I say, I knew about some places that where I had facilities and people, like in China as well as also in Germany. I had some doctors, looking at things. Anyway, and it's possible, like I said, things like the defibrillator. Like for instance, people used to die, and I think I might have said, well, it takes a while for a body to actually start dying. Usually, you can restart, you can bring them back to life or something like that. And basically, and that's where pretty much I said, well, a lot of things run on electricity. So anyway, though, but basically through my suggestions and basically my doctors, like I said, I was paying doctors and I was paying scientists and I was paying people to examine the human body, to distill and basically look through the human blood, pretty much using centrifuges and also boiling and other things like that to see what is inside of the human blood type and all that other stuff. And I said, well, anyway though, I designed the human body, but that was a long, long, long time ago. I also designed other life forms, but that was when I was a computer and stuff like that. That's what I did. I was very much like a machine, basically. Anyway, though, so basically, pretty much, basically, a niece or someone of basically a Teflon Don came, or a person in organized crime or something like that. Some powerful person basically came to me because she wanted to pretty much help her grandfather out or something like that. And I suggested a few things, and I had my scientist look at her, have him go take a look at him. And I said, well, my doctors and scientists don't judge people. It doesn't really matter. They'll just make sure he doesn't hurt anyone or they don't hurt him, blah, blah, and go with him, basically, or something like that. I don't really remember exactly what I told her, but basically I said, well, we have medical facilities. I mean, I have lots of medical facilities. You can have them check them over there. Anyway, he was suffering from something or something like that and was sick. Like I said, helping doctors and everything else is something that that I knew that was very important. Also, doing things like limb replacement and stuff like that. Like when a worker or someone loses a limb, I was trying to have my doctors see if they could do something about that, like possibly reattachment or something like that. Like I said, it's very hard basically to reattach limbs and stuff like that. It was a lot easier for exoskeletons and other things. Also starfish, and I also had them looking at starfish, but nothing came of that, of course. Anyway, though, basically, I had lots of people working on these things, basically, and I was using things like drug money, as well as other taxes. It's where your tax money was going, basically. Like I said, when people found out what I was having done, they actually started paying taxes more and more and more and more, and actually even donating lots of money to basically the medical research foundations. Like I said, it all goes back. Every all roads lead to basically Lucifer Star, me, basically. Like I said, Germany was a country I bought, and I also owned America. I've owned just about every country on this planet. Like I said, you could look. I told people, I said, just look for my white buildings. They're usually made of stone, and they're white. I had white stone buildings. Those were my buildings. Anyway, I had other buildings too, though. But basically white stone, because I was Lucifer White Star. So I had buildings made of white, to basically, it's because of my paint and other things. And besides, it was different. I also like the color blue, though. Anyway, though, and at one point in time I was known as Lucifer Red or something like that. It doesn't really matter, Red Star or something. It doesn't really matter. Basically, it doesn't really matter. Stars and eagles, basically. Because I was the person who invented flight, the high lift wing, the Flying Fortress, the P-51 Mustang, the P-38, the Mosquito Flyer, wooden aircraft and aluminum aircraft. So I also worked with Japan or China one time at one point in time, and was working on basically pods that could carry people, to hospitals, because there are only 3 or 4 hospitals in all of China at one point in time. So a lot of people would be sick out there in the fields and stuff like that, and they would need an aircraft to basically land and pick them up and then basically take them back to back to the hospital. Anyway, so I was working with China on aircraft and all kinds of other stuff. So anyway though, in the end though, I forget if their grandfather died or not, but basically I think he might have been helped or something like that. They helped him through changing his diet. They took a look at his diet and stuff like that, and other stuff. And basically I had another friend. Like I said, throughout the years I've picked up people. People have been saved. Military officers have gone through my rehabilitation programs and basically gotten the use of their legs back, or been helped by one of my companies or one of my factories or one of my people's groups. I've set aside large amounts of money and was spending lots of money on basically research and development. Getting wheelchairs for the disabled. Basically, it all also goes back to a metal frame, basically for people that didn't have strength in their legs or something like that. Basically the old, metal braces that would go on the outside of people's legs, and stuff like that. Casts, basically, and stuff like that. A lot of these things which you do not understand to be, what or why or who asked for them. It was me. Like I said, in 1980 or some point in time, I jotted down a few things or a whole bunch of things that I wanted basically my government or the United States to be working on. America, basically. So anyway, and supposedly, while I was playing child and being a child, they were working on these things. Basically, I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, Germany was also doing these things as well, but I don't really know. Like Adolf Hitler, he was a person in from one of my military colleges or something like that. So I'm not exactly sure. People kept trying to say that my people were all dead, or that I had lost command or something like that, or that my groups, but yet there's still stars and stripes. The American flag. I said at one point in time I wanted a circular flag of circle stars, but there were too many people that wanted to join me, that wanted to join my civilization. Like I said, cars, aircraft, food preservatives, getting food to last longer through preservatives, pasteurization. They wanted to know, I was like, well, sometimes air and sometimes heat, you have to kill off all the germs. steam, stuff like that, and also getting food to be crunchy when you open it up out of a can. Getting cans to last longer. Food preservatives. Anyway, in the old days, we used to use salt and stuff like that. And some of these techniques are still used in China and around the world and stuff like that. Anyway, though, like I say, you are all left with these facts. And like I said, you can actually go out into the universe and find at least 120 or 400 other planets, which are somewhat like Earth, where there are tablets. And there are also other life form types. I'm not exactly sure. It might be 400 other life form types that have my plaques and my tablets telling of my time with them, basically. I was known as the creator, or as some great leader. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure. The LSF-A colony ship, pretty much, and other spaceships. I built stars and planets, basically. Matter creation, particle creation. That's my specialty. So anyway, all these facts are things that you just, anyway, oh well.